Hello and welcome back to Toy Thursday with Johnny Tiger. The date is October 8th, 2020. In view of a few comments I have received and a bit of personal thoughts on the matter, I have decided that from now on, Toy Thursday, I'm going to concentrate a little bit, focusing a little bit more on just one or two figures rather than doing a big lineup of six or more. This is because I find that in big lineup like we've been doing, even though it's kind of fun to show a concentrated theme, I found that I often struggle to remember all the details, and I was rushing a lot to get through each individual character bios and figures, and it's just a little bit too much, too rushed, and I found that I wasn't doing figures justice by rushing through it that way. So from now on, I'm going to focus a little bit more on each individual figures, and we'll see how it goes. Of course, what you think of it, you can always leave it in the comment section and let me know how you feel on this topic. In front of the camera, you see this weirdly looking female. We'll call it her a female. This is a very feminine looking figure in a long robe, dress, whatever you call it. Very busty, very curvaceous. For the most part, just looks like another curvy female action figure in a long robe. But if you look at her hand, you will notice that, to our horror, that it looks like all that is under all those robes and dress and clothes is a skeleton. In fact, if I take off her face, you will see that there is nothing underneath her mask than other than a skull. Pretty fitting, considering Halloween is not that far away. Who is this? Well, I think it's pretty obvious by this point. This is a female version of Death, the Grim Reaper, the Taker of Souls, the end to all living things. Portrayed in this case as a female character. And she is definitely connected with one of the two characters we are going to be showcasing today. If you are familiar with your Marvel cinematic movies and your Marvel comic books, you already know who I'm talking about. $1 million ago. Well, this is the Marvel comic history, of course. I'm not talking about like real history, but hey, bear with me. We gotta when we are geeking out, okay? We don't have to specify that it's not real. Okay? So 1 million years ago, a group of very powerful deities, we can call them gods, came to Earth and experimented on the creature that would eventually become the human race. During their experiment, these celestial beings created three variations of the human evolution. The first strain went on and evolved into the beautiful and godlike deities that were called the Eternals. Eventually, the Eternals left Earth and went and founded their own planet by the name of Titan. The remaining two races that were left on Earth were the regular human and the human that would eventually evolve into superhuman, like uh, Incredible Hulk. Well, Incredible Hulk didn't really evolve from that. Incredible Hulk got transformed because of a atomic or nuclear accident. But anyway, you get my point. So there were two strains left on Earth, the human and the superhuman. They are not really part of our story right now, so we're going to just bypass them. We're going to talk about the Eternals, the first race, the most godlike, created after the God's own image, beautiful, powerful, magical, very advanced in their science. The Eternals went into space and founded their own planet because they didn't want to coexist with more inferior creatures here on Earth. They decided to go away, build their own home, create their perfect society, and they succeeded. Until one day, a eternal woman had a baby. And rather than being beautiful like all the Eternals, this baby looked like, well, a withered Californian raisin. That's the best description. The baby was purple, wrinkly, deformed, and extremely big. Immediately, this woman tried to kill her own baby because of how deformed the baby was. But she failed. This baby would then go on to grow up. Because of how advanced the Eternals were, the rest of them, aside from the mother herself, the rest of them did not discriminate against this child, this big, ugly, purple child. Because this child turned out to be immensely strong, immensely smart, and very, very powerful in his use of his psionic ability, magic, and telepathic ability. This turned out to be the strongest Eternal ever born. So the Eternal, despite this child being so strange and deformed, worshipped him. So you would think that everything would turn out fine because the child was a child genius. Everyone loved him, well, other than his own mother. Maybe that was what's wrong. Maybe his own mother trying to murder him as soon as he was born was imprinted on his young mind. But once this child grew up, he became infatuated with the manifestation of death. And for that end, this the most powerful Eternal in the universe, the one Eternal that didn't look like the rest, decided on a very lofty goal. He was going to sacrifice the entire world. Not just his own world, not just one galaxy, but the entire world. Every living thing. He was going to kill every living thing in the world to satisfy the love of his life, death. His name is Thanos, and there he is. Standing about 8 inches tall, Thanos, for those of you who can't see the screen, and bring him a little bit closer. He's a very bulky, very, very muscular, alien looking figure. His skin, his flesh, is mostly purple, and he's wearing gold and blue armor. And his face is the kind of face that only a mother could love, but unfortunately, in his case, even his mother didn't love him. He has a mighty granite-like chin that juts out, and small, tiny nose, and beside on the side of this nose, a pair of blank white eyes. Let me turn him around. You can see, you got this is one massive guy. This guy is muscles on top of muscles. Actually, he's so muscular that he has a kind of a hunched look about him, almost like he's uh, bending a little bit under the weight of his own power. So exactly, what can Thanos do? Why is he one of the most threatening villains ever in the Marvel universe? Well, heck, in any universe. Let me give you guys a quick rundown of this guy's power. As I already said, he was the most powerful and the smartest of the Eternals, and the Eternals were as close to God as you could get. They were basically modeled after God. They were the firstborn, the first race of people. The Eternals were basically demigods. So that basically put Thanos in the God's lead. He's the most powerful of that bunch. So he is immortal. He almost, he pretty much never ages. He can live almost forever. He can explode millions of tons of rock by a simple tiny whisper. He is also immensely fast, able to keep up with some of the fastest moving characters in the Marvel comics, such as the Silver Surfer, excuse me, Chinese accent coming out. On top of that, Thanos is versed in telepathic, telekinesis, all kind of mental abilities that allow him to control people using nothing but his mind, and allowing him to avoid being mind controlled by other such creatures, such powerful beings in the world. He is also very, very smart, the smartest of all the Eternals. So he was able to design his own spaceship his own technology that would allow him to travel to different worlds to destroy them. And while this guy looked very muscular on camera, this does not come close to convey the kind of power, raw muscular power this guy has. When we talk about who's the most strong, physically strong characters in Marvel Comics, most people are thinking Thor the Thunder God, or the Incredible Hulk, or the Unstoppable Juggernaut, just to name three of the most popular, most commonly known to be the strongest. How strong are those guys? Well, for more or less, give or take 10 or 20 tons, Incredible Hulk, Thunder God Thor, and Juggernaut are all in the class 100 league. What does that mean? That means on any of their off days, these guys can casually lift up to 100 tons of weight. That's crazy, right? Like 100 tons of weight. These guys can handle that. But that is nothing to a guy like Thanos. Thanos, in addition to being smart, has a powerful mind, is immensely strong. He has been shown to be able to stop the Incredible Hulk with one hand, to fight two Thunder Gods at once and still win. And if we go by some of the power displays that he's shown, such as moving an entire planet, he can lift up to 50 trillion ton. 50 trillion ton versus 100 ton. Suddenly 100 ton doesn't seem like such a big deal. He has also survived being devoured by a creature that goes around space and eats planets. Like this creature's stomach acid was so strong that it could dissolve entire planet. But Thanos, after being devoured by this creature, was able to fight his way free from the stomach of a creature like that. Impressed yet? That's not all. As if all that godly power is not enough, Thanos, in order to realize his dream of murdering the entire world, every living thing in the world, built himself a glove that would contain the six power stones. What are the six power stones? These six stones, they're six gems, will grant whoever possesses each one of them a particular power over something. So with all six stones in his possession, Thanos has control over time, space, reality, soul, mind, and power. So this is a guy who's already strong, already super smart, or very crazy in every category, and now he has the ability to manipulate time, to manipulate space and reality, to manipulate power and people's soul and people's mind. Now tell me, isn't that like a crazy kind of villain? Like when we say that Thanos is pretty much unstoppable, he pretty much is. I mean, obviously, he gets beaten uh, regularly by the good guys, but it's never because of lack of power on his part. It's always because, well, that's just comic book and cartoon and movie. Good guys have to win. So we call that plot armor. The good guys won, not because they actually could, but because the plot demands for them to win. But taken on his own merit, Thanos is a kind of godlike being that is bad news all around. Here is this big, hulking, smart, crazy, powerful guy who is immortal and whose ultimate goal is to slaughter every living thing in the world so he can use that as a gift to his beloved Lady Death. Here is Thanos and his beloved standing together. I don't know which one is uglier. And anyway, they make a good couple. I'm going to give you a size comparison of Thanos standing with the Incredible Hulk, so you guys can see how big Thanos is. Here is the Incredible Hulk with Thanos. Standing back to back, you can see that Thanos is as wide, actually wider and thicker than the Incredible Hulk, and they are about the same height. So Thanos is a big dude. Now this Thanos was made by Diamond Select Toys, and he came packed in with Death, his mistress, and he also comes with an alternate fist, an alternate left hand. So right now, the one I have on the action figure, the hand I have here, is a hand with the Infinity Gauntlet with all 6 power stones on it. But if we want a Thanos without his power gauntlet, we can actually take this off and replace it with a regular hand. But I'm not going to do that because his arms are so thick, it's actually really hard to remove the glove and put on the regular hand. So I'm not going to fuss around with that on camera. In an entire different universe from DC Comics, a different but very similar mad god was born. 10 million years ago. This one's even further. Thanos was like 1 million years ago. This one's 10 million years ago. The old gods were losing their power because people started to not believe in gods, and apparently the old gods only had power if people had faith in them. So the old gods started losing power, losing followers. So among these old gods were 2 younger gods by the name of Euxus and Draxus. Euxus and Draxus were the prince. They were the sons of the lord of the old gods. Their father was the ruler of the old god. In other words, Euxis and Draxus realized that the old gods were dying, that they were losing power very fast. So they hatched a plot to kill all the other old gods and devour their energy so the two of them would rule the world. And they succeeded. Draxus went out and became known as the All Father. And he was a good god. He wanted to be a merciful god. But his brother, Uxus, after devouring the energy of all the other gods they killed, became the opposite. He became the god of tyrants, the god of conquering, the god of destroying. He became the god known as Darkside. Now, before I show you Darkside, I want to mention that I've experienced, I've seen, I've handled a lot of action figures in my lifetime, probably thousands, and there have been a lot of action figures that impressed me on a big level, on a small level. Uh, some of them are my favorite, some of them I don't like so much. But Darkseid, the one I'm going to show you today, is on a level all on his own. And I hope by the end of this video, you will agree with me that there's just no other action figures right now that can really compare to this one. Now let me clarify, he is not my favorite among my collection, but he is definitely the most unique and in many ways probably the best. If you have never seen a $200 action figure, then stay tuned. You will very, very soon. I very rarely show the packaging of action figures because I always take them out of their boxes. But for this guy, for Darkseid, he is just special enough for me to show his box. Rather than a plastic or cardboard container like all other action figures, Darkseid comes in this big, heavy tin box that's the size of a lunchbox. You look at the side and the back. I probably have this upside down, I'm not sure. But anyway, turning it just in case. I mean, just this container alone bumped the cool factor and the worthiness of this action figure up several notches. Tearing open a cardboard box to get at action figures is cool, but opening up something like this tin lunchbox, that's just an amazing experience. And it's not even cheaply made. You can see there's a hinge on it, and you can hinge it open. And after you take the action figure out, you can use it to hold all your accessories and leftover body parts, like I have here. It's awesome. It's like one of the most awesome containers an action figure ever came with. But as cool as the container is, the figure itself is even better. Here he is. That is Darkseid, the most powerful evil god in the DC universe, the ruler of the planet Apocalypse. Let me tell you how badass this god is. Even the planet he rules eats other planets. Like seriously, when Darkseid is injured in battle, he can heal himself by taking energy from the planet he rules, and then in turn, the planet he rules eats other planets to replenish its energy. That is one scary food chain right there. Kind of like Thanos, Darkseid here stands about 8 inches tall. He is his skin is mostly gray and very rocky. He looks like he's made of rock. And he has red eyes, I believe. And he's wearing very similar kind of outfit with Thanos. Armor and big gauntlets on his hand and big heavy boots and a helmet on his head. Turning him around so you guys will get a back view of this guy. He is not quite as bulky as Thanos, but still a really big boy. Thanos looks big and a little bit hunched over, like he can barely stand under the weight of his own power, his own magnificence, shall we say. But Darkseid here looks big but strong and sturdy, like he's going to stand tall against whatever that may come his way. Now, what makes this one of the most unique and best action figure in my collection? Why is he worth the price tag of $200? Actually, I was very lucky. When I got him, uh, the the toy store I got him from was having a discount, and I got him for $120, so like $80 cheaper than normal. Now, $120 for any other action figure would still be a little bit of a WTF moment. Like, honestly, most of the $100 action figures I have acquired make me feel a bit of buyer's remorse. But in the case of Darkseid, I felt that my $120 was a very definite steal. I definitely won out in this case. And let me show you why. Let me show you why this action figure worth so much money. Remember I mentioned that his skin is gray and he looks like he is a creature made out of stone? Well, in his case, that is actually true. To simulate his character, he's made by Mezco, by the way. Mezco. Uh, the company decided to do something almost never heard of in action figure making. They decided to make Darkseid out of polystone rather than plastic. So his arm here is what you can see of his leg, his face, and the entire muscular torso under his tunic, this whole chunk, all that is, and his hand, all that is stone, like that's actual stone on an action figure. How crazy is that? And even crazier than that, they went even crazier than that. They went one step further. His boots, his armor, his chest plate, his gauntlet, his helmet, his cape, the shoulder pad on his cape. These armor pieces, like anything on him that is supposed to be armor, all that are made of real metal. Like, are you kidding me? This is an action figure, 8 inches tall, made out of metal and stone. And the part of his costume that's supposed to be cloth, like the cape and the tunic, these are real fabric with vinyl over them. This is just incredible that they did this. Like this graduates this figure from toy to artworks. Like this is definitely not a toy. This is not something that you want your kids to play with. Even though being stone and metal, he is extremely durable. But this is just crazy that they did this. Because he's mostly metal and stone, this is a very heavy action figure. Like picking him up is like holding a 5-pound dumbbell in my hand. Has a definite heft to him. Oh, by the way, his belt here, that's metal too. One of his accessories he comes with is his little laptop computer, his little tablet. Apparently God needs computer too. Uh, Now here's the cool part. Even this little computer is entirely made of metal. And rather than attaching it to his belt, like any regular action figure accessory, it just sticks onto the back of his belt by a magnet. It just holds there. Metal on metal. Just like that. That's so cool. Now, if that's all there is, this would have already been a worthy action figure in the $100 range. You know, real metal, real cloth, fabric, real stone for his body. And don't let it fool you. Even though he's stone and metal, he is still very articulated. Just look at how his head can move left, right. He can nod his head, can look up. His arm can go out, he can go in and out. He can do the bird, fly like a bird. His elbows can move. His hand, wrist, articulated. His legs, knees, ankle. His torso. So the entire figure is articulated. This is just amazing work that they did a metal and stone action figure that is articulated. It's just crazy. So like I said, if that's it, if that's all, he would already be worthy as a $100 action figure. But there's a lot more. Just like there's a lot more to the character. Being big and strong itself is not enough to make you one of the scariest god in the universe. Darkseid, in addition to being big and immortal and uh, extremely hard to kill, he has abilities such as he can travel to anywhere in the universe, and he can change his size to fit the whichever world he is in. So if he's here on Earth, he would be roughly human size, maybe 1 or 2 feet bigger. And if he's in with a giant, then he would be giant size. In his true form, Darkseid, the god, is the size of a star. He's that big. More than that, most of the time, the Darkseid that we see on screen or in the comic books, that's not even his real body. That's not the real Darkseid. That's just a piece of himself, a tiny piece of himself. He sent out to the world to dominate the world. Because apparently, Darkseid as a god is so powerful that he can't enter our world without destroying it. In fact, just his a piece of himself is so powerful that one time, one of these little, uh, let's say, Darkseid duplicates got killed by the good guys. Just his death alone almost ended our reality. His death ripped a huge hole in space and time and reality that it almost ended the world right there just because one piece of him died. So this is a god that is uh, exists on multiple dimensions, is eternal, immortal. He can also control people with his mind. He can, with his eyes alone, with the laser from his eyes, he can erase people from existence. He can trap people's soul in an eternal limbo to be tortured. And he is strong enough to defeat beings like Superman with relative ease. So that is Darkseid the God, why he is worthy of the title of the most powerful dark god in his universe. How about Darkseid, the action figure? What makes him worthy of that $200 price tag? Aside from already being a really big action figure, being 8 inches tall, and made of stone and metal and real fabric, and comes with one of the best containers any action figure ever came with. Darkseid also came with a whole slew of accessories. He has uh, 3 extra hands. Here's a fist. Here's a open hand. These are all stone, by the way. He has extra hands that you can put on to give him different hand gestures. If you want him to punch out Superman, or if you just need him to grab Superman, or whatever. He also came with his little laptop computer. I already showed that. And he came with 3 additional faces that you can put on him. The one he has on now, this expression, and then you can switch it out. The face is just held on by a very strong magnet on his skull. You can switch it out and put this expression on. That's like a angry expression, a smirking expression, um, and of all the faces, the coolest one for me is this one. This is what he looks like when he's using his eye laser to wipe someone from existence. There's actually two laser beams, like sculpted, to come out of his eyes, like that. This is really, really cool. And these faces are all stone, by the way. They're not plastic. There are plastic pieces on this action figure, but I believe only the connectors where his joints are plastic because you don't want stone on stone. That's going to just uh, wear out after a while. So those joints are plastic, but the rest of him, faces, hands, extra faces, they're all stone. And then of course he came with this gorgeous cape with shoulder pad, real metal shoulder pad, real fabric cape. So cool. Okay, so is that it? Like this is already a big figure made of really awesome material, metal and stone and real fabric, and he comes with a whole bunch of extra accessories like hands and faces, and face with laser beam come out of his eye, and a nice looking cape and shoulder armor. Oh, by the way, he also comes with a plastic display stand well, in theory, allow him to hover in mid-air. But because of how heavy he is, that actually doesn't work. So I'm not showing his display stand here. Uh, but yeah, just know that he does come with one as well. That is not all. I'm going to show you the coolest feature on this action figure, which is, I'll have to take his head off to do this. Oh, I just took off the head of the evil god. But that's okay. He's eternal, he can take it. Inside the head is a tiny switch. And when I switch this on, I hope you guys can see this on camera. His eyes glow. There's a pair of little LED lights in his head that make his head and face and eyes light up. Let me change to a different face so you guys can appreciate the glow more. There, that is one cool action figure. A glowing feature with real metal armor, real stone body, real fabric clothes. Let me turn this off so he's not going to wear out his battery. He actually came with a pair of batteries as well, just for your information. Okay, so just to recap, 8 inches tall, very big action figure, big and muscular, real metal armor, real stone body, real fabric clothes, real light up feature for his eyes, and extra parts for his face and his hand, and a real metal computer, and one of the coolest container any action figure ever came with. That add up to a $200 action figure. Is he really expensive? Oh yeah, yeah. Uh, if he wasn't on sale for $120, I don't think I would ever spend the money in acquiring him. But with that said, that's just because I am I'm poor. I don't have a lot of money. But if I have more money, I would definitely tell you, $200. That's a definite fair price for this incredible action figure of one of the most powerful gods in the DC universe. As a final departure, I'm going to bring Thanos back into the frame, so we can have uh, the purple god standing with the gray god. There's Thanos, big and purple and muscular, and one of the most powerful Eternals in the Marvel Universe. And he is standing with the equally big uh, gray colored, the most powerful god in the DC universe. Back to back, like this. Front view of both characters. Very nice. Now, just as a little bonus, if you guys want to do a YouTube search on Death Battle Thanos versus Darkseid, there's a nice little death battle that was reimagined between the two most powerful dark gods in their own respective universes. Thank you for checking out today's Toy Thursday. We will bid farewell to our two evil gods, and we'll be back again tomorrow for Fitness Friday. For now, have fun, and have a good night.